Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian MNB World. I'm your host, Anargavatar. And for top stories, schools will have separate entry and exit points to reduce infection risks. 3,726 cases of COVID-19 were confirmed on Wednesday and 7 additional deaths confirmed. Ovs province farmers to harvest 800 tons of Seabuckthorn. And for the news, stay tuned. Today, Mongolia is starting a new academic year after more than a year of school closures and lockdowns due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, 4- and 5-year-olds are being accepted for kindergarten enrollment. The Ministry of Education and Science provided some clarification on the changes being made.
Kindergartens are accepting children that are 4 and 5 years old. All children are welcome as 5-year-olds are kindergarten-aged children. For 4-year-olds, arrangements are being made to admit children who were enrolled in the previous year. In the future, the Ministry of Health, in cooperation with the National Emergency Commission, will carry out risk assessments. Based on the results of these risk assessments conducted by professional bodies, it will be determined when children aged 2 and 3 will be accepted. In the future, kindergartens will be able to stay open on a permanent basis. If there are no cases of COVID-19 in class, children can continue attending kindergarten. I think that this will depend on cooperation from the parents and the kindergarten.
This year, as a new wave of the COVID-19 pandemic increases, regulations have been put in place to improve the infection control regimes at schools. For example, schools will regulate the flow of children. There will be separate entrance and exit points. If infection is detected in a class, the procedure for direct isolation is specified in the regulations. This school year will include a combination of online and classroom teaching. Also, parents can request their children to study 100% online from home.
For example, the entrance and exit of this school are clearly indicated. Spacing signs are placed. Upon arrival, the student will be received and supervised by the teacher in charge. Because the classroom was divided into 2 groups, one child will be seated at one table. Also, there will be no more than 20 students in any class.
Our school has over 1,980 students this year. All students will be divided into 2 groups, half online and half in the classroom. If one child in a class is found to be infected, the class will switch directly to online. If 3 classes on the same floor are tested positive with infections, the floor will be switched to online classes.
Parents can have their children attend classes 100% online from home at their own request. An electronic platform has been created to provide access to classrooms and online students simultaneously.
We are accepting requests from parents to have their children attend classes 100% online. We have arranged for 38 hours of teaching per week in the school and online. We are making the necessary arrangements.
Some schools are prepared for testing. However, the Ministry of Health has not yet decided whether to test in school premises. However, we asked officials about the international regulations.
Other countries are taking different measures. It is believed that the detention of a child at the onset of an infection can help prevent an outbreak in a school where other children could be infected. For example, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends that at least 10% of all children in school be tested for infection.
The ministry has provided guidelines to schools on how to work during a pandemic. Even the teachers were instructed to make a contract of responsibility and not to go outside, but only to go between home and school. If more than 3 classes become infected, school activities will be restricted. Therefore, parents should maintain a good infection control regime within the family, officials have reminded them.
On Wednesday, the Ministry of Health reports that 3,726 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed and 7 people have died.
In the past 24 hours, 3,726 new cases were confirmed and 3,100 177 have recovered. Unfortunately, 7 patients, 4 men and 3 women, died of COVID-19 complications. All new cases were confirmed domestically, out of which 916 were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar and 2,810 in the rural provinces. At hospitals nationwide, 14,829 COVID-19 patients are being treated, which includes 471 pregnant women and 2,260 children with COVID-19. Out of the inpatients, 9,500 show mild symptoms of illness and 248 are in critical condition. Additionally, 18,239 patients are being treated at home under supervision from local hospitals.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Our next story. Farmers in Ost province expect to harvest 800 tons of Seabuckthorn from 600 hectares this year. Ost province has the opportunity to develop the processing of locally produced Seabuckthorn to create value-added products. We have more on the story from Ulaanbaatar in Ost province.
Ulaanbaatar resident Baisaglang has been growing Seabuckthorn on 1 hectare field for the past 20 years. Baisaglang used to run her oven business until she saw the big market opportunities for growing fruit and berries in Ulaanbaatar. Using a drip irrigation system, Baisaglang was able to harvest 10 kilograms of Seabuckthorn from 1 tree for a total of 10 tons of the entire field. 1 kilo of Seabuckthorn sells for 3,000 to 5,000 MNT.
Like herders who calm their goats, we collect our harvest once a year. In autumn, which yields a profit similar to cashmere, I always tell people how one can benefit from growing Seabuckthorn and encourage them to plant these berries, knowing that it's as profitable as cashmere.
Like Baisaglang, lots of area households have started planting Seabuckthorn, which supports seasonal employment in the province. Farmers pay people 1,000 to 1,500 Mongolian Tugurs to harvest up to 1 kilogram of Seabuckthorn.
If these people who are hired to pick berries can collect 800 tons of Seabuckthorn, they could generate an income of 1.2 billion MNT in very short time. Using these profits, we could increase plantation and the variety of Seabuckthorn being planted.
In addition to cultivating Seabuckthorn, Ost province also has the potential to profit from its wild Seabuckthorn resources. 40% of the country's wild Seabuckthorn grows in Ost province. Most of it grows in the Tising River basin, in Tisum, which generates 120 million Mongolian Tugurs in annual revenue.
Depending on the weather and precipitation, Seabuckthorn grows a bit differently every year. For example, last year there was 20 tons, and this year we expect to collect 30 to 40 tons of Seabuckthorn.
It's one thing to be a Seabuckthorn supplier, but what's more important to local development is the local processing of Seabuckthorn. That's why Ost province has opened a brand consulting department and is working to get their local products into the global market. So far, Ost province has been credited with innovations in the production of Seabuckthorn oil, which has been successful in the domestic market.
First, it was supposed to be taken by the spoonful, and later, a capsule version came out, which is much easier to take and doesn't easily spill. This adaptation can hugely improve the profits from the product.
We can see what kinds of opportunities for growth there are in Ost province, looking only at the example of Seabuckthorn. Officials say that households that are growing berries in their yards will receive support in order to double or triple the profits generated.
The under-23 women's 3x3 basketball team has won the last day of the Nations League. The women's team defeated Egypt's under-21, 21-13 in the group stage, but lost to Egypt's under-23, 10-21. They finished second in the group and reached the final again, this time beating Egypt's under-23, 21-19. The women's team won 3 of the 6-day series. The under-23 men's team, which won the third day of the tournament, beat Egypt's under-21, 21-13 in a 6-day match last night, but lost to Egypt's under-23 team, 19-21 to advance to the final. The under-23 national team successfully competed with the Egyptian teams for 6 days. Ihmadla, an international master, competed in the men's 100-meter wheelchair and finished 7th out of 7 athletes. He finished in 15.97 seconds in the competition, setting a new national record. In the men's 100 meters, the winner was Pangsakon Payo from Thailand, and the second place was taken by Abdul Raham Al-Qurashi from Saudi Arabia. Ihmadla took 8th place in the 2018 Asian Para Games in Jakarta, 7th place in the 200 meters and 9th place in the 400 meters. He's a double bronze medalist at the 2016 Asia Pacific Championships, bronze medalist of the 2017 Beijing Grand Prix, gold medalist at the 2018 Beijing Grand Prix, bronze medalist at the 2019 Polish Grand Prix, and he's a 9-time champion of Mongolia. Gambatr Chandra competed in the men's 10-meter air pistol shooting practice on Tuesday. He scored 556 points from 60 bullets and ranked 16th out of 26 athletes. Xiaolun Lui, the world record holder with 581 points, finished first in the event, while India finished second with 575 points. Athletes fired a total of 60 shots over 6 rounds, with the 8th highest scoring athletes making it to the finals. Gambatr was 15th at the 2018 Asia Para Games in Jakarta and 4th at the 2018 World Championships. On September 2nd, Gambatr will compete in the men's 25-meter pistol shooting competition. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.